When the light reaches its peak, something ancient steps out of the shadows. And if you're here watching this before June 20th, you've already been marked by that light. This is not just a season change. This is not just a solstice. This is a cosmic checkpoint. And your energy, your presence, your emotional body are being scanned and sorted whether you realize it or not. Because when the sun hits its highest point in the sky, it doesn't just bathe the earth in heat and clarity. It exposes what's been buried. And what rises now, if you let it, can rewrite your next chapter. Most people think the solstice is just a long day, maybe a time for celebration, for sunshine, for barbecues and beach days. But that's the surface. Beneath that, a metaphysical contract is being triggered. This is the point in the solar year where the sun pauses, literally stands still, before it begins its descent. And symbolically, it's when the outer light reaches maximum power, so the inner light can finally be seen. That means you. That means everything you've ignored, delayed, suppressed, or misunderstood is now stepping into clarity, whether you're ready or not. And here's where things get real. This light doesn't come alone. It carries something most people can't feel, a frequency encoded in sunlight that will pulse through your heart, your home, and your habits over the next 4 weeks. The sun is entering Cancer. That means the next phase of your transformation will not be loud. It will be emotional. It will be quiet. It will be watery. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So while the sun may be shining its brightest, your emotions are about to become the main arena of transformation. That's why, right now, if you feel strangely nostalgic, if memories are hitting harder than usual, if you're being pulled to reconnect with people from your past or revisit childhood dreams, that's not weakness. That's alignment. And more than that, it's a sign that this solstice isn't random for you. It was targeted, timed, delivered. This message found you for a reason. Before we go further, pause. If any of this has already hit something inside you, don't ignore it. That's the echo of the light doing its work. Hit the like button, subscribe to stay in this flow, and drop the number 77 in the comments. Not because it's trendy, but because numerologically, 7 is the number of spiritual awareness. 2 sevens, that's a portal, a gate, an energetic declaration that you see what others miss. It also helps this reach someone else, someone who needs it as much as you. Now, let's begin the real conversation. The summer solstice isn't just a peak in light. It's a mirror, and it doesn't reflect the surface. It reflects what you've become. In ancient traditions, this day was sacred not because it was sunny, but because everything hidden becomes impossible to ignore. It's the moment in the year when light dominates darkness, but only briefly. After the solstice, the days begin to shrink again. The descent begins. And that's the part most people don't want to face. We chase the light, but forget that every peak casts a longer shadow. And if you've been feeling like your life is on pause, like something huge is coming but hasn't landed yet, that's not your imagination. That's your solar timeline holding still, just like the sun does on solstice. It's not stuck. It's waiting for you to look inward and decide if you're going to carry the same patterns into the second half of the year or burn them in this sacred fire. Cancer season intensifies this. The sun, now filtered through a water sign, will no longer shine just on what you're doing. It will shine on what you're feeling. Expect emotional waves. Expect mood swings. But don't run from them. That discomfort, that's the signal that a deep internal shift has already started. You might be asking, but why now? Why is it so intense all of a sudden? Because the solstice opens a window that only appears once a year, a portal where solar energy meets emotional vulnerability in a way that reprograms your relationship to home, safety, intimacy, and truth. It's like the sun is handing you a flashlight, but pointing it inward, saying, "Here, look at the places you keep dark." And there's something else, something hidden in this day, and I promise I'll show it to you before this message ends. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's subtle, like a code placed in your heartbeat. But once you see it, it will explain everything you've been feeling this month, and it will give you the clarity to move forward without dragging the past with you. Because that's the real question this solstice is asking. What are you still carrying that no longer belongs? What emotions? What stories? What roles? What regrets? Let yourself feel them, but don't become them. Let them rise in this heat, but don't grip them. The light is at its peak, but only for a moment. Use it wisely. If you're still here, it's because your energy recognized this frequency. Like, subscribe and comment 77 to hold your place in this portal. And stay close, because what comes next in this video might just be the part of yourself you've been trying to remember all year. And now, it's ready to return. 1. The solstice isn't just light, it's a line being drawn. So now that you understand the solstice isn't just light, it's a language, let's go deeper into what it's actually saying. Yes, June 20th is the longest day of the year, but what most people miss is this. The moment the light reaches its peak, it begins to fade. The solstice is not a celebration of forever, it's a threshold. It's the exact moment when the climb ends and the descent begins. And that descent isn't a downfall, it's a return to depth, to truth, to the inner world that's been waiting in the shadows while you've been chasing goals under the sun. And just like the earth begins its slow journey back toward darkness after today, you too are being asked to decide what light is worth carrying and what illusions need to fall away. Because the spotlight you've been under, it's revealed a lot. It's shown you what you've grown into and what no longer fits. But don't confuse being seen with being clear. Visibility isn't clarity. Just because something has grown large in your life doesn't mean it's aligned. Just because something's loud doesn't mean it's true. You might be wondering, but why do I feel this tension when everything should feel high or celebratory right now? Shouldn't I feel lighter, happier, more certain? The answer is not necessarily. Because the solstice isn't a final victory, it's a spiritual checkpoint. It's the breath you take at the mountaintop, realizing you now have to decide what's really worth carrying into the next leg of the journey. Not everything that helped you climb is meant to follow you down. Imagine standing in the heat of the noonday sun, holding a heavy backpack. You've been climbing for months, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and you've finally reached this bright, visible moment. But that weight on your back? You start to realize it's not all yours. Some of it belongs to old expectations, to roles you've outgrown, to people who aren't even climbing with you anymore. That's what the solstice reveals. Not just what you've reached, but what you're still dragging. This moment is a line in the sand, a spiritual drawing of boundaries. The sun, standing still in the sky, is asking you to do the same. Pause, reflect, decide. What parts of yourself are still aligned? What parts were built for survival, not for truth? You might ask, but if I let something go now, won't I lose everything I've built? Won't I be stepping backward? No, you'll be stepping into alignment. Because the solstice doesn't demand that you abandon everything. It asks you to refine it, to filter, to purify. This is the moment when the light is so strong, it scorches away illusions. If it can't survive the heat of your truth, it was never meant to stay. This is why, emotionally, things may feel intense right now. Old memories resurfacing, mood swings, unusual dreams, because you're not just watching the sun pause in the sky, you're pausing with it. You're meeting yourself at a spiritual summit, and deciding, what am I willing to release in order to make space for what's finally aligned? The solstice gives you one of the greatest spiritual gifts of the year, a still point, a moment where time seems to stretch, where clarity can enter, where direction can shift, not from force, but from awareness. What you choose to acknowledge now will shape the rest of your year, not because of fate, but because of frequency. What you accept, you integrate. What you release, you liberate. So as the earth prepares to descend from this light, so do you. But this descent isn't about falling, it's about deepening. And that line being drawn, it's not a wall, it's a doorway, one only the emotionally brave will walk through. And someone you used to be will be left standing on the other side. 2. Sun enters Cancer and your emotional body activates. And as the solstice draws that line across your sky, the sun makes its entrance into Cancer, signaling a new phase, not just for the cosmos, but for your internal world. You may not see it in the headlines. You may not even notice it right away in your schedule, but you'll feel it in the way your body responds to memory, in the way certain emotions feel heavier, thicker, harder to shake, because now the solar light, the logic, the fire, the clarity is being filtered through water. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and that means your emotional body is now center stage. For the next 4 weeks, the universe is no longer just illuminating what you do, it's shining on how you feel. And if you've been waking up more sensitive, crying over old songs, or wanting to cancel plans for no reason, no, you're not falling apart. You're sinking. You might be asking, but why does this always happen around this time of year? Why do I suddenly feel so emotional when I thought I had everything under control? Because Cancer season doesn't care about surface control. It brings you back to your roots. It peels back the armor you've worn for the first half of the year and asks, is this version of you real or just a survival costume? This is why you may feel drawn to nostalgia right now, childhood homes, old lovers, music you haven't listened to in years, because Cancer activates emotional memory, the stored, unprocessed echoes that still live in your body. Think of it like opening a photo album from a past life, not to judge yourself, but to retrieve the forgotten parts, the soft parts, the real parts, the parts that felt too vulnerable to bring into the world before now. And when you feel like hiding, that's not regression. That's the soul instinctively reaching for safety so it can finally start to heal. Cancer rules the 4th house, the home, the foundation, the inner sanctuary. So if you're suddenly craving solitude, wrapping yourself in blankets, avoiding confrontation, or gravitating toward warm food and close spaces, that's not avoidance. That's rerouting. You're unconsciously creating a cocoon because somewhere deep inside, a transformation is trying to take shape. This isn't about becoming emotional for the sake of it. It's about becoming receptive. Cancer season tunes your antenna to a frequency you may have forgotten how to hear, your own. And when that signal sharpens, you begin to pick up the subtle messages you've been missing, the tension in your chest when you're with the wrong person, the joy you feel in quiet, the sadness that surfaces when you're finally still. These aren't distractions, these are data. You might ask, but how do I stay productive when I'm this sensitive? The answer, you redefine productivity. Productivity in Cancer season isn't measured by how much you get done. It's measured by how much you allow yourself to feel, process, and realign. Think of it like tending a garden. You're not harvesting right now. You're watering the roots. You're checking the soil. You're pulling the weeds before they grow deeper. This is internal maintenance. This is emotional rewiring, and it's some of the most important work you'll do all year. And yes, this emotional tuning is deeply connected to the secret we mentioned earlier, the one that's still waiting quietly beneath the surface of this message. because in order to unlock it, you have to be emotionally open enough to receive it. Your sensitivity isn't a glitch in the system, it's the passcode. It's what makes you qualified to hold what's coming next. So let the tears come, let the silence linger, let the mood swing without judgment. Your emotional body is not malfunctioning, it's recalibrating, it's preparing you to touch something you couldn't access before, something sacred, something subtle, and very soon you'll know exactly what that is. 3. The fire of Litha awakens the ancient you. And now we step into the fire. While most people only see the solstice as a seasonal shift, those who carry deeper memory know this time by its ancient name, Litha, a celebration of the sun at its peak. A sacred pause in the wheel of the year where fire becomes a bridge, not just to light, but to the truth buried inside you. Litha isn't about fireworks or warmth alone. It's about the flame you've ignored, the one inside you, the one that's still burning beneath the ash of who you had to be. Litha is the day your inner archetype, the real you, the you that existed before fear and filters, begins to stir. It's not loud, it's not theatrical, it's a soft ignition, a flicker behind your eyes, a voice in your chest saying, "There's more of me, and I'm ready to rise." You might not know what to call this part of you. Maybe you've caught glimpses of it in dreams, in the way you move when no one's watching, in the clarity that hits you when you stare into a fire too long. That's your original self, not the one shaped by expectations, but the one built by essence. And Litha calls to that part. That's why this time of year can feel strangely restless. You might suddenly crave adventure, ritual, sweat, creation. You might feel a pull to speak truths you've been swallowing for years. That's not rebellion, that's alignment. Fire doesn't burn for no reason. It reveals, it purifies, it calls things out of hiding. You might be asking, how do I answer that call? What if I feel it, but I don't know what to do with it? The answer is presence. You don't need to know what it means yet. You just need to feel it, to sit with it, to not turn away. Simple rituals can anchor the flame. Stand in the sunlight and ask your body what it's ready to remember. Stare into your reflection at sunrise and hold eye contact until something shifts. Light a candle and speak to it like it's listening, because it is. The light isn't asking for perfection, it's asking for honesty, for acknowledgement. Because when you meet the fire with presence, it doesn't just warm you, it transforms you. And that heat you feel in your chest right now, that's not anxiety. That's the ancient you waking up. 4. Mood swings aren't mood swings, they're messages. And just when you think you've found your rhythm in this season, it hits you, the wave, the emotional swing. 1 minute, you're clear and motivated, and the next, you're curled up under a blanket, unsure why the world suddenly feels too loud, too sharp, too much. But let's set something straight right now. This isn't emotional instability. This is emotional intelligence trying to surface. What you're feeling isn't random, it's not dramatic, it's not weakness, it's signal. Cancer season is ruled by the moon, and the moon doesn't move in straight lines. It waxes, wanes, pulls tides, stirs dreams, and speaks in moods. That same rhythm now flows through you. So when you feel a sudden ache in your chest, or find yourself crying at a sentence in a song you've heard 100 times before, it's not dysfunction, it's data. It's a message your nervous system buried long ago, finally reaching the surface. Think of it like this. Your emotional body is like an ocean. During calmer months, you can skim across the surface. But when Cancer arrives, that tide pulls you back into the deep. And in those depths are memories your mind couldn't process when they first happened, moments your body stored like time capsules. And now the tide is unearthing them. You might ask, but why now? Why does it feel like I'm regressing just when I thought I was getting stronger? Because healing isn't a straight climb, it's a spiral, and every spiral brings you closer to the center. Each wave you feel now isn't pulling you backwards, it's guiding you inward. And yes, that means you may snap at people unexpectedly. You may need more sleep. You may suddenly want to isolate, even from those you love. You're not sabotaging yourself. You're cracking open. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary, because beneath the surface of your emotional storms lies something bigger than this moment. There is a thread running through your entire life that's being tugged by this season. A lesson, a wound, a truth. One that didn't start with this week or this year, but maybe lifetimes ago. And Cancer's tides are not just emotional, they're ancestral. They reach back. They pull up the unsaid, the unseen, the unprocessed, so that you, right now, in this version of your life, can finally hold it differently. This is why the waves feel so overwhelming, because you're not just feeling for yourself, you're feeling through time, through bloodlines, through soul contracts. And this too ties directly into the deeper reveal we've been hinting at. Because what's rising in you now isn't new. It's something you've been carrying for lifetimes, something that's finally ready to surface, speak, and be released. Let it rise, let it move, let the mood swing, not as an inconvenience, but as a sacred message. Because when you listen to it, really listen, you'll start to realize it's not trying to break you, it's trying to free you. 5. The longest day is a mirror, and it's reflecting you. And now we face the part that most people quietly avoid, the mirror. Because the solstice doesn't just bring warmth, it brings illumination, not metaphorically, not softly, but powerfully, almost uncomfortably. It turns your entire life into a reflection. And when the sun hangs longest in the sky, its light doesn't just shine outward, it shines inward, into the places you've refused to look. This is why today your discomfort feels sharper. That anxious edge in your gut, that sudden urge to quit something or call someone you haven't talked to in months, that's not restlessness. That's the mirror doing its work. Because the solstice reveals what's misaligned. It shows you where your house is clean and where it's cracking at the seams. And not just your physical house, your energetic house, your habits, your values, your relationships, your choices. The light touches it all. You might ask, why now? Why does it suddenly feel like I can't pretend anymore? Because the solstice is a sacred spotlight, and once the light hits something, you can't unsee it. That's why so many people experience shifts right now. Breakups, breakthroughs, burnouts, spiritual awakenings. Because the truth doesn't whisper on a day like this, it declares itself. You may feel an intense need to start fresh, to clean your space, to end a toxic cycle, to finally commit to the thing you've been circling all year. That's not impulsiveness, that's spiritual alignment demanding action. The sun is showing you the cracks, not to shame you, but so you can reinforce them, rebuild, realign. This is why ancient rituals on the solstice always involved fire, water, and reflection. Because when you see your shadow clearly, you also see your power. The two are never separate. The same light that shows you your fear also shows you your potential. So if today feels raw, good. If things feel off, perfect. You're not supposed to coast through this portal. You're supposed to pause, to look, to feel, to notice the difference between what you've been doing and who you're becoming. And this noticing, this honest, uncomfortable confrontation, that is the ritual. Reflection isn't passive, it's sacred. Because once you see what's been hidden, you can no longer live unconsciously. You are now responsible for what the light revealed. So don't dismiss that gut feeling. Don't talk yourself out of what you just saw clearly for the first time. You didn't imagine it. You didn't overreact. You recognized a fracture in your foundation. And now you get to choose, reinforce it, or let it keep cracking. The longest day isn't asking you to fix everything. It's asking you to see everything. Because in this mirror of light, denial has no shadow to hide in, and that is where real change begins. 6. You might be feeling other people's pain, and that's not a curse. And just when you thought your emotions were enough to handle, something else begins to move through you, something that doesn't even feel like yours. Maybe it hits you out of nowhere, grief that doesn't belong to any memory, a heavy feeling in your chest when you walk into a room, a sudden wave of sadness while scrolling past a stranger's post. You look around and ask, why am I feeling this? Where did this come from? And the truth is, it came from them. Not one person, but the collective. And your energy field is starting to feel it. Cancer energy doesn't stay contained. It's ruled by the moon, and the moon doesn't create, it reflects. And during this time, your emotional body becomes more reflective too, more open, more responsive to the vibrations around you. If you're feeling too much, you're not losing your center, you're expanding your sensitivity. And yes, I know what you're probably thinking, but I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to carry the weight of strangers or feel drained just by being around people. But that's the misconception. You're not here to carry their pain permanently. You're here to recognize frequency, to discern energy before language, to detect shifts before they speak. And for that, you need to become porous. Not weak, not broken. Porous. This is the training phase of a higher calling, because the more you can feel, the more precisely you can channel. You are being attuned to hold something very specific, a frequency, a role, a message that only someone with your unique soul imprint could deliver. But before that message can move through you, it has to move into you. It has to stir you, stretch you, shake you up just enough that you can no longer pretend you're numb. You might be asking, but what if I don't want this level of sensitivity? What if it's too much? Then you ground it, you transmute it. You let the energy pass through without making it personal. This is where spiritual hygiene becomes essential. Salt baths, breath work, energy clearing, silence, nature. These aren't luxuries anymore. They're necessary maintenance for someone carrying this level of frequency. Because you're not just feeling others, you're learning how to feel for them. You're becoming the empathic bridge, the mirror, the calm in their storm. And while it might not make sense right now, you'll soon understand exactly why you're being prepared this way. Because in the message that's still coming, the one we've been moving toward this whole time, you're not just the receiver, you're the transmitter, and that role begins with how deeply you can feel. 7. A decision is being made without your permission. Right now, something is being decided on your behalf, beneath the surface, beyond the noise. It's not happening in a meeting room, it's happening in energy, in timelines, in the quiet corners of the universe, where frequency rearranges fate. A relationship might be silently shifting. A door you didn't even know existed is unlocking. A version of you, stronger, clearer, is being chosen. And the catch? You don't get to control it. Not yet. This is the part of the solstice most people miss, because it doesn't announce itself. But you're here. You're sensing it. And that means you were chosen to feel it before it becomes visible. 8. The reveal. What the light activated inside you and why it was hidden. Now here it is, the secret we hinted at. The solstice didn't just shine light around you, it shined light into you. It activated a memory stored in your solar center, your chest, a soul-encoded instruction buried in the heart space, accessible only when the sun reached its peak. That tightness in your chest, that strange dream, that sudden urge to say something deeply vulnerable, that was the solar activation. It's not just emotional, it's physical. Your heart is remembering its original rhythm. You may feel the need to place your hand over your chest, to breathe differently, to cry without knowing why. That's the sun unlocking your next layer. Let that happen. Don't resist it. This moment, this breath, is the integration. And from this point forward, you're not just walking under the light. You are the light. So as this solstice portal closes, remember, what you felt wasn't chaos, it was alignment. The light didn't just illuminate your path, it revealed your purpose. You're not here by chance. You were guided to this message because something inside you is shifting, rising, returning. If this message resonated with your soul, like, subscribe, and comment the number 77 to anchor this energy into your timeline. Let the universe know you received the signal. And if you're still here, it means you're ready for what comes next. Because this light doesn't just fade, it transforms. And now, so will you.